Alright guys, I'm Kane with Lou Kane Outdoors. Um, we just finished up the bait tank and I realized, you know what, I didn't even do an introduction to this video, so I had to sit down and go ahead and do it. But I want to go ahead and ask you, forgive me for some of the audio quality in this video. It's not the best. I'm still learning how to record and edit. So anyway, hope I explained everything in the best way possible. Hope it's not hard for y'all to understand. This is a very simple build, and you know, hopefully y'all enjoy it, and maybe it gets y'all an idea of how to do your own bait tank if you want to keep bait readily available at the house. I use mine for bluegill because I flathead fish a lot. I like to run bank poles. You know, as you can see, I've got bank poles everywhere. I got new ones right there. Got some right there. So anyway, long story short, there's that, and we'll get on to building the tank. All right, good morning guys. Just kind of quick here. I wanted to show y'all the starting process of building one of these bait tanks. I had several people message me asking me for a tutorial, and I'm going to try to walk y'all through that. This is the first part here, and I'll kind of show you how to get started. For those that haven't seen it, this is mine. This is my personal one that I keep here at the house. That's just a, you know, aerator, canister filter, and I don't run anything else. I don't have a chiller on there or nothing. Every now and then I'll throw that Yeti ice block in there, and you know, but it sits in the garage. It's out of the sunlight. So I wasn't going to buy a new one. I ended up getting on Facebook Marketplace. I found a used Baling Country 65-gallon stock tank. And what you want to do when you buy these, it doesn't matter if it's new or used. Fill it up, test it, make sure it doesn't leak, because I've had them leak straight out of the store. So once you do that, and while you've got it sitting there and you're testing, making sure it doesn't leak, get you a sheet of plywood. I just buy the sanded plywood. I don't buy treated or anything like that. I just paint it when I'm done. But once you get the sheet of plywood, you lay it on top of it and you just trace around it. Or you can flip it over on top of it and trace around it, either way. But you just start cutting your outside line, and when you're done, and boom, that's your top. I'm gonna paint this while the sun's kind of hitting today, and try to get this squared away as fast as I can so I can start the process on the rest of it. But for the most part, that's really all you need to do to get started. Pay attention when you do buy these stock tanks used, because a lot of times people leave them sitting out in the sun. You know, they're there to water cattle and horses and things like that. So you don't want to get one that's been out too long. I've noticed that they get a lot weaker over time if they're sitting in direct sunlight, but they tend to keep it cool, especially with a lid on it and it's not exposed to just straight air. You know, you'll kind of see throughout the process of me building this how it's going to take place and take shape, but it's just a simple build. Now, I don't need this tank. I'm actually going to sell it when I get done building it, but I wanted to kind of give y'all an idea of how to build these if you want to build your own bait tank. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll keep you in the loop as I try to finish this one up and show you how it looks when we're done. All right, guys, so I've already started cutting on this sheet. That's the lid for that tank. This is just kind of showing you how I cut it. You just use a jigsaw. It's not rocket science. All you have to do is cut the line that you draw on it. If you're familiar with tools, then you obviously know how to do that. So. scrap now, so not much. So that's it. All we're gonna do is sand down the edges with a sander, and then we're gonna end up painting it. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. That's your top. So when we get this thing painted, and actually I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna go ahead and measure, make sure it looks straight, and I'm gonna cut a seam down it. And I'll probably cut this one down the middle just because it's not that big. Let's see. Yeah, that's what we can do. We can just cut it right down the middle. That way you have access to one side to get your bait out of the tank. And the rest, the filter and everything can sit on. So there you go. Aside from that, that's pretty much it. All right, and so here we go. This is it. It's cut. We laid it on the tank, which is currently over there upside down because we have already run into an issue. That's why I said, always check the tanks. New or used, always check them. But this is it, cut in half. So this is gonna be the lid, so you have a better access point to get the bait out of the tank. And this is gonna be where our filter and our aerator is gonna sit. What I have run into on this tank, and let me show you. This is a threaded plug. This rubber gasket was not doing what it needed to do. Luckily, this is a threaded plug on the inside. It will be very easy to seal this up. Now, one thing to keep in mind, whenever you are doing a bait tank, you need to make sure that you use aquarium safe silicone. Now, I could put some Teflon on this, and some pipe dope maybe, and just, you know, pop it back in there, and then boom, it's done. However, I have been using the aquarium safe silicone on other tanks, and it seems to just work better. It lasts longer, plus it doesn't put any contaminants in the water to harm the fish that you have in it. So give me just a little bit and I'm going to get that repaired, put it back in there, and try to get this lid painted, and that'll be it. All right, so off camera, we got this painted. That's all we did, and we sealed the plug up. And like I said, you need to use aquarium safe silicone, which is this right here. It's just Loctite, clear silicone, waterproof sealant. But if you read the back of it, it's safe for aquarium use. It doesn't put off the toxins and chemicals into the water that can harm your bait fish. So all we're going to do now is the lid that we're done with, we're going to go ahead and fasten this in, and I've actually got to run and get a hinge for it, and that should be about it for the lid purpose. Everything else is going to be strictly just pump and filter, aerator. That'll be about it. So when you do this, you just want to pick screws appropriate to length, that doesn't penetrate too far into the molding. So I'm going to actually step back on this one a little bit, because I'm going to put 3 bolts in this as well, not just screws. So there's one screw. We're going to come over here and we're going to line it up on this side. Do the same exact thing. And the reason I use a drill and not an impact driver or anything is just so I can gauge with this soft plastic. You know, you will easily strip a screw out if you crank on it too much. So. There's that. And what I'm doing right here is what? About in the same place. And that's all she wrote. So on the corners, I always do bolts in corner, and then right here at the end of it. Just kind of helps make sure things stay secure in case someone were having with all the screws. But other than that, that's going to be it. All we're going to do is put a hinge on this. When we get the hinge on it, we're going to then start messing with the filter and everything. But that's pretty much it. Alright guys, so I lost some of the footage. I'm going to make this part short and sweet because it's not that hard. This is where we're at in the build. Lid's done. It's secure right here. All stainless hardware. Stainless 30-inch piano hinge. Lid. There's your intake hose right there. That's going to go down to your pump. That is your output hose. That's going to put water back into the tank. Don't pay attention to the sawdust in the bottom. Of course, you got to clean all that out when you get done before you put your fish in. This is my #1 question I get asked. This is a pressurized canister filter. It is for pond filtration, like koi ponds and things of that nature. Let's see if I can. There we go. It is very simple. You have a coarse media, a fine media, Then you have a bunch of these little things. They're called bio balls. And they go down in the bottom. So that is pretty much it with that. Very simple, reusable, washable. It's a little expensive, but it is a good product. We're gonna end up installing the pump right down there. And of course our aerator will sit up here. Probably gonna put it right here, somewhere in there, pop our 2 holes for our lines. And it's gonna look a lot like this. Just like this. Now we gotta make another hole for our cord to come out for the pump. But you're gonna have to stop by Lowe's and buy you this 3/4 inch inside diameter reinforced vinyl tubing. That's what I use. I use it on both of these and any other ones I build, even my bait tanks for the boat. One thing you're gonna have to do, and I'll show you when it comes time to install the pump, but the pumps come with little rubber feet that suction to the bottom. However, they do not stay suctioned, so you still need that clear silicone. We're gonna put a little bit on the rubber feet. We're gonna stick it to the bottom. We're gonna let it set for 24 hours, and then it's done. This pump right here, as you can see, it is down there in the bottom. It hasn't pulled back up or anything. It is silicone. This is how this tank over here is gonna look. And there's my big bluegill down there in the bottom. And they're still. All right, so the video ended up cutting off. However, we're not too far from being finished with this tank. Like I said, it's a very simple and easy build. Everything can just about be bought at your local store, except for the canister filter. You'll probably have to order it online. They range around $100 to $175, brand new. And usually you're not gonna find something like that used, so I just go ahead and buy a brand new one and call it quits. But we're gonna install the pump and the aerator next. I've gotta make a run to town. I've gotta pick up the pump. I've gotta pick up the aerator, and we'll get them installed. I'll show you how that goes. And once we get done with that, this tank will be ready to go to its new owner, so yeah, stay tuned. All right, good morning, guys. So we're on the final day of this bait tank, and we'll show you all what you need. We've got everything situated. I already popped a couple of holes in here for the tubing to drop down into the tank. All you're gonna need is a drill, 5/16 drill bit, so this little airline tubing can drop down in there. You're gonna need your air stones, of course your air pump. This here is just a whisper air pump. It's for up to 60 gallons. Since this is a 65-gallon tank, this is going to be perfectly fine. You probably won't even have 60 gallons of water in it. You might have 55, but even if you do, this is still going to add some aeration to the water as well. So you're not in a bind or anything using this. But you can pick these up at Petco. I think PetSmart has them too, but worst case scenario, you don't want to leave your house and you just get it off Amazon. They do come with a little airline fitting that you can put in there to control your air. I don't ever use them. I just let it get all the air out of it. Just take this out. And what I'm going to actually do is I turn mine around backwards. I'm going to run it out the back. Mainly to keep you want to kind of keep these air stones away from the pump, because it'll start to choke up when it's circulating. I guess just pushing too much air to it. I've already drilled my 2 holes, and I drilled my hole for the plug, and I'll show it to you in just a second. But all you're going to do, you just take this and you set it where you're going to put it. You want to cut these to length. Allergies are acting up this morning. But But you're gonna cut these to length, just something appropriate to the tank size. I dropped it down. I'm actually going to have to upsize that hole there. Board for the front. Just lay it right there. Get a little tie for it. And the last thing that we're going to do is we actually have to cut this vinyl hose a little shorter. We're going to probably cut it off about right there. We're gonna pop a zip tie on it, so this is where we're at right here. The air pump just sits right here, feeds you 2 lines down in there, and you have to drill this big enough to get this plug through there. So that's why I done it in the back where you don't really see it, and then of course your cord runs out the back here. But that's pretty much all you're gonna do. I mean, this is, you set them over to the side. Going to take this and we're going to cut about 3 inches off of it. Oh, come on. The knife has done got the door. wanted to move this vinyl hosing and kind of reshape it, you can, I put it in the oven on a very low setting, and it tends to help heat it up. You just want to be careful and not cut it too short. But that's, I think it's pretty much it right there. I believe we are done with this one. I've actually already had somebody reach out to me, and they're like, man, I will buy that bait tank from you now. I was like, well, I ain't done with it yet, so I figured I'd finish it. And get it out of here as soon as possible, because it's actually taking up space in my garage here. And that is it. This tank is done. So there's your aerator tubes, your cord for your pump. If you wanted to, you could tuck this up in there, you know. I'm just not gonna worry with it. It never hurts anything just hanging in there. But that's all you need to do to have a cost efficient, just simple bait tank build. Now, if you wanted to, you could set a chiller next to this. I've actually been thinking about it on my personal tank, putting a chiller on it since it stays in the garage. But, you know, if you're just looking to get started, this is all you got to do. And then you take some ice every now and then and throw in there. Just keep your water temperature cool. And if you're on city water, you do have to remember you need to use some sort of conditioner to get the chlorine and chloramines and things like that out of the water. But anyway, there's a bait tank, and hope y'all enjoy watching. I tried my best to kind of explain everything. Forgive me because I'm kind of new to this tutorial thing, but hopefully I explained everything in the best way. And if you have any questions, just feel free to put it in the comments, or you can email me directly. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch it. Y'all have a good one.